Good morning. Welcome to Love Yourself Spiritual Channel. I'm Peggy, and I had a prompting from Spirit today to just spend a little bit of time talking about probably one of the most prominent subjects in our current environment here on Earth, and that's abundance, finance specifically. Um, I I personally grew up fairly poor. We had a very large family. There were 8 of us, and while there was never a lack of fun or activity or anything on that nature, and that's always been um, really easy in my life, to engage and enjoy family and friends. Um, However, because we didn't have a lot, um, that was something that grow as an adult I have recognized that is something that I have to really work on. And I thought I had to put, when I started learning about law of attraction, I thought I just had to put a lot of focus on it. And that did help. And I have manifested a much more comfortable life than what I had as a child. And this is in no way anything negative about my family or my parents specifically, for sure. Like I said, I had abundance in many, many ways. It was this, and it's generational. This vibration of just getting by, um, is passed down vibrationally from generation to generation. And there's a lot of things that I didn't really understand. I could manifest, but it always seemed like I went back to a baseline of just getting by. So like by trade, I'm a horse trainer, and so we breed, sell, train, paint horses, and so I could sell a horse for just for an example, let's say $10,000, and that's a very nice chunk of money. And it almost always seemed like as soon as that would hit the bank, the truck would break down, or hay prices would, we would be in a drought and hay prices will have doubled, which is a thing. And so it just always seemed like no matter how much I was making, it was just in some way always matching exactly what was needed to get by, but not really to thrive in a really powerful way. And so when I started learning about generational trauma, and I'm going to back up just a little bit and I'm going to tell a story. During the time when I was really focusing on healing and on spiritual transformation, I'd been pretty peaceful for a while. I'd moved through a lot of my stored pain, and that's a thing. And if you want to know more about stored pain and things like that, then put in the comments, and I'm happy to do videos of anything that you hear here that you want more clarity on, that I don't go into with much depth. I had released a lot of my stored pain, and I had worked to a point where I knew that I was growing quickly. And it was during the time of one of the full moon portals. And at that time, I didn't fully understand, although I've always been fascinated by astrology, exactly what that would mean. And astrology, by the way, astrology was taken out of the Bible. I can do a whole thing on that if you want. But it was a thing that was in the original teachings. So coming up towards this full moon portal, I kept feeling this really intense pushing of emotion against my heart space. And several times I said, well, what is this about? Because nothing is going wrong. A lot of times when pain would come up and I would sit with it, and then I would say, what is this about? If it didn't have a 3D anchoring, like something actually going wrong in my 3D world, then I would ask what it was about. And sometimes I would get little blurps of things that happened in the past. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm releasing. But I was just like this really intense building and building and building of this discomfort, like pressure. It felt like pressure in my chest. And so finally I said to my daughter, I said, I'm going to go upstairs on the deck for however long it takes to release whatever it is that I've got stagnating here. And it took a little over 2 hours. And when I came down, I said to her, I said it. She said, "Do you feel better?" And I said, "So much better, so much better." And she said, "Well, what was it all about?" And I said, there was a few things, and we talked about them. And I said, but honestly, the majority of it didn't even feel like it was my pain. I don't know. I really don't know, but I do feel so much better. And because I would ask when a specific emotion would come up, I would say, where is the root of this? What is it that I need to know about this? Is there something that I should learn from this? And I wasn't getting, after the first several minutes, maybe 30 minutes, I wasn't getting any little blip pictures or little movies or anything. So I felt like, well, there's no anchor for this. I don't understand where this is coming from. And but I continued to ask, of course, over the course of the next couple of weeks during meditations. I would ask, what was that? What was some of the things that I was feeling? Where are they stemming from? Because I'm insanely curious. I'm like, a Rottweiler with a bone. Once I get it in my mouth, you can't get it out. I'm gonna have it. And so then, essentially, what I learned over the course of the next couple of weeks was that what I had released was generational. It was behind me. And specifically, one of the things, like after I heard about generational trauma, I did a little research on that specifically, and Teal Swan, I think, was the first person I heard say something about it. I was just scrolling one evening through probably Facebook Shorts, I suppose, and heard that term, and I thought, I got the chills, which is always spiritual confirmation, and I knew it was an answer to something that I was seeking at that moment, of course. And then a little bit later, I was listening to Billy Carson, probably short, and he said that in our DNA is stored, you could store the amount of information in the entire congressional library in 1 gram of our DNA. And then I began to connect that within our DNA, we have stored all of our lifetimes, which include the information from our generations previous to us, including our parents. So a lot of what we move through in this life has to do with what has gone on before this lifetime. And so what I came to understand is that some of the places that I was stuck had to do with generational genetic mapping of vibration. And so even though I could work really hard with my mind, and I could reach above where I was momentarily, I would go back to my baseline. I would sink back to where the generational set point of vibration on finance was. And so part of what I released there was that. And part of the reason that I released it at that time is, as I said, I was doing all the inner work, doing the shadow work, the inner child work, and gaining in spiritual understanding. My third eye was opening. I was becoming more sensitive to the divine's interactions with me. I hear the voice more often and more clearly. All of those things were opening to me. But in order for me to ascend to a higher set point, that had to be cleared, or I would have to stay there because it's genetically in my DNA. And one of the really interesting things, because I understand a lot about quantum physics, I find it just fascinating. So we are 99.99% the energy of God within every atom, and only 0.001% matter. And so we're more energy than we are anything else. And so in that energy, in the vibration of that energy, is the information that is stored from generation to generation. And so those set points are stored there. And one of the things that I would have to do is to release my genetic makeup from that. And in doing so, because time only exists here in our perception, but on the spiritual realm, there's no time. So as I release it here, it releases it through the generations behind me and the generations ahead of me. So as I release it, it was actually released from my daughter, my son, those people that I am quantumly entangled with. When quantum entanglement essentially states that you can have two atoms, and if they are intimately have an intimate understanding of each other, or energetically rubbed up against, connected, you can take one to one side of the world, and you can take another to the other side of the world. And if you poke A, B responds in real time, and honestly, even faster than the speed of light, because spiritual energy moves faster than the speed of light. And so as I release generational trauma that is stored within my DNA in real time, it releases it from before and after me. And so that is part of the work that I have done. So if there is anyone here today that has had difficulty also with just like breaking the barrier from I'm getting by, every time I get more than get by, it seems like something goes wrong, and I work with my mind and my emotions, and try to emotionally track, because it's your heart that magnetically draws back your experience. Your thought produces the energy, and it goes out into the universe. Your cells of your body and your heart respond to the thought that you're having, and the emotion that's produced from that draws back to you your 3D manifestation. That's how law of attraction actually works. So if you don't understand fully law of attraction, put in the comments, and I'll do a segment on that as well. And so the generational trauma was what was taking me back to a set point that kept me from really busting through the level of abundance that my family line had understood or had experienced, which is what I wanted, that's what I would like. That's one of the things that I would like to do. And Jesus said that he wants us, or we are to experience the fullness of life. And I think about my children, and I think about God, and there isn't anything I wouldn't want to give them. And so in the same way, God is the same. The Spirit wants and always is offering to us the fullness of life, which includes material abundance. I'm not one of the people that believes that, money is evil. It's not evil. Everything has positive and negative, and you can do anything with anything that you want. And money is nothing more than a 3D manifestation, just like we are. And humans can be good and bad, very much. Both. So that is my understanding. One of the things that can potentially hold you back from the abundance that you're truly seeking in life is whether or not your core traumas, and they can be from childhood, or your family traumas over generations, have been looked at and released. And in other videos, I'm going to go more into depth on childhood traumas and how to release them, how to work with those energies. Anything that you want, that you're seeking information on, please always feel free to put in the comments, and I'm happy to, as Spirit will allow, and I have time, address those, of course. So I thought I would just pull a couple of cards and see if Spirit has anything else that they would like to offer us. Other than what I have said here already. I'm going to get out the Angels of Abundance, and I don't know if we'll go past just a couple of oracle cards. We'll see what Spirit has in mind. didn't pre-clean these two decks, although I did clean the space. I'm just going to light a small amount of clary sage and blow on these decks. Okay, just clean them. Divine Spirit, please come and reside over this reading for us. Any ancestors that are present, both of mine and the viewers that would like to be present, you are welcome. And Archangel Michael, will you please watch over us? Okay, we'll just start with this Angels of Abundance deck. This is actually, this was the first Oracle deck I ever bought. I think it's really, really pretty. Just going to shuffle it a couple times. Connect to the energy of the universe with it. And we'll just see what flips out. Spirit, what would you like to offer to the viewers? Anything I've missed that you would like to say to them? Maybe not. Maybe he thinks I've given enough. Oops, no. He likes to tease me sometimes. Okay. We have 3 cards. There's lots to say. Let go of guilt. When you allow your light to shine brightly, you inspire others. Forgive yourself for what you think you've done or not done, and trust that God loves you unconditionally for who you are. Learn and grow from past mistakes instead of berating yourself for them. Yeah, did a lot of that. Definitely. Definitely. Especially, I think if you have children, it's easy to, feel when there's a period of lack, and anyone who works in sales understands that, you're kind of like, it's feast or famine. Feast, famine, kind of goes like that. And not over-bullying yourself during times when there's a lull. Certainly. Quiet retreat. It's time to disconnect from the outer world so you can discern and process your true thoughts and feelings from your inner world. Create this quiet time for yourself, and you'll have more clarity about what to do next. And I have a little... this is my quiet space. This is actually part of my bedroom. And I think it's really important to have a space that you go and meet the divine in. I will always be a supporter of the need to meditate, to go within and to quiet your mind and singularly focus. It's actually not so much about quieting your mind, and I'll do a segment on meditation at some point. It's not as much about quieting your mind as it is focusing, fully focusing, and taking questions to the Divine Spirit to have answered, or to have, and those answers come to people in all different kinds of ways. You'll find your way if you haven't already. Just ask for Spirit to speak to you, and believe me, it will. It's just waiting. It's just waiting. And our last one, bountiful nature. Spending time in nature helps shift you to a higher vibration and reminds you of God's infinite abundance. Go outside and enjoy a walk or hike with your pet. Meditate beneath a tree, garden, sit under the stars, or do some other activity to connect with a limitless vastness. And it is limitless vastness that we enjoy. That one of the things that quantum physics states about the nature of our 99%, which is the Divine Spirit moving and flowing to and through us at all times, is that is without beginning, without end, and that it is it's an unfathomable, unmeasurable source of power that is continually flowing through all things. So we're definitely bountiful, very much so. I might just see if they want to give us a a card or two from this deck, this oracle deck. Spirit, anything else from this deck that you would want to add here to this reading? You have two. Dynamic. The frequency, and these are geometric, sacred geometry cards. The frequency of dynamic supports our ability to harmonize between layers and aspects of different origin and frequency. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the generational trauma and working with that, the different frequencies that support us moving between up and down the layers, because there are many dimensions. Actually, I think there's 13 dimensions that as humans we can perceive. It helps us to get to put together a reality that is made up of many different elements, both familiar and completely new, with ease, grace, and great joy. And the numbers 2 and 3. And 2 is about, it can be the number of all-knowing and also the number of balance. And 3 is the number of the creative child or the inner child and creation. And triangles actually, 3-sided triangles, they're actually the strongest structure there is. And then transition, 43. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and with grace. And that's what I was going through that I described. I was going through a transition from one level of spiritual vibration to the next. And during that, I can say that during that transition, it could have been easier had I known what was happening, but it was a bit uncomfortable. Not unduly uncomfortable. And as soon as I sat with it long enough to allow it to flow out of me, to flow through me and out of me, it wasn't very long at all. A lot of times, I wonder back over time and think, why was I so ornery? Why did I wait so long? Why didn't I just do it? But I think that's part of the learning process also, is to recognize when something like that is coming up and is happening, and the need to go and sit becomes more and more apparent to me, and I do it faster. So maybe you can learn from my mistakes. But I think this was really beautiful. I know that we are always supported. We are eternal. And anything that we want, anything that we can dream of, the Divine Spirit actually does want us to have. It is through us that the Divine Spirit is having this physical experience. Without us, He doesn't have this physical experience. And He does love this, or He would not have created it, or would not be supporting it, of course, because He, as the Creator, has the ability to discontinue anything at any time. But what the work that we do here does propel consciousness, which is an aspect of the Divine Spirit, forward in a more beautiful, powerful, and loving way. And that is part of our work here. That is part of what we're called to do, is to evolve and to work with the energies. And this is a very difficult, the Earth School is a very difficult one, because we come with no, other than we are connected, of course, we don't come with knowledge. We come with as a completely clean slate. But we also come with generational stuff from behind us that we have to work through, and we have to work with those energies. But there isn't ever a time that the Spirit doesn't want us to feel the fullness of life. Jesus said that He wants to give us the fullness of life. And part of the reason for that is, very logically, He's experiencing it through us. And without us, He can't. And I just think if you could consider, as a parent, if you're a parent, or maybe you can recognize this from your childhood, the joy that you have as a parent when you see your child succeed, like that first step, like just all the way to the really simple stuff. the first time they reach out and they grab something, the first time they smile. The joy that you feel in watching them have that joy is immeasurable. It's not even a feeling that you can describe if you're not a parent. That can be fully appreciated. If you are a parent, then you'll know exactly what I mean. But so in the same way that we feel that when we succeed in life here, when we have great joy, and when we're winning, and winning includes all of those around us. It's supportive to everyone around us. It's supportive, period, to life here. And then you have to understand that the Divine Spirit is also experiencing that with you. And there isn't anything that He wants to withhold from you. But we do have agency. We do have choice. The way that we work with the energy, you cannot receive what you do not ask for. And I'm just going to leave you with this last thought, because you have to ask. There's no way around asking. The Divine Spirit meets you at the depth of your surrender, never at the height of your struggle. So, the only way to what you really want in life, especially if it's material abundance of some kind, we're specifically talking about material abundance here, but the only way to it is to ask, to surrender, and do the work. Please put in the comments if you would like a personal reading, spiritual counseling, or if you just have something that I've said here that you'd like more clarity on. I will get to those as Spirit leads and post videos. Namaste. Be blessed.